Hombale Films brings to you Game Day. We are in the capital of India, King Kohli's hometown, New Delhi, for the Delhi Capitals face-off. RCB has a 6-3 head-to-head lead at the Arun Jaitley Stadium against the hosts, and we head into game day full of confidence, having beaten them in the season earlier. A win here would really help us break into the top 4 on the points table, but is that really what the team is keeping an eye on? Let's find out. Mike, have you started analysing the points table now that the teams have finished 60% of the games?
Oh, look, I think, part of our job is to analyse it all the time, but it's also not to be dwelling on it too much. We're aware of the consequence of every game, but we can't sit there and play every game. You'd be exhausted by the time you get to the end of the tournament. So, obviously, the points table always looks good when you win. Obviously, that gives you a chance to slide up. When you don't, then you start looking at it probably a little more than you should. So, we're aware, but we're also not, we're not dwelling on it too much.
Freddie, tell us a little secret. Who keeps a close eye on the points table in the team?
Well, the answer to that's probably me, because it's my job to be across it. And I think anyone would be lying if they said they didn't have one eye on it, because people do. The player who maybe does that people might expect wouldn't is Glenn Maxwell. He spends quite a bit of time across it and is often sort of knowing who needs to win or has half an eye on it. But yeah, as I said, I think everyone would be probably lying if they said they didn't have an eye on it. But generally it's all about focusing on the next game for us, and obviously if we win our games then we'll be in a good position.
One match at a time seems to be the mantra.
Look, they're very well prepared. I think it's pretty simple. The focus is on the next game. It's not, as I said, we were delighted with our last win, but we also realised there were some things that we needed to do a little bit better as well. There were some things we needed to give ourselves a pat on the back as well, in terms of assessing conditions. But this will be different again. So it's actually really simple. You just focus on what's right in front of you, and don't get too far ahead.
David Warner has been successful against RCB. Sure, he's not had a phenomenal season this time, but do players like him warrant meetings and planning?
Yeah, we plan for each and every player that we are likely to play against, so it's not only restricted to a particular player. So try and get to know as much as possible about the player that we are playing, what his strengths are, how is his season been. So all those things come into factor. So it's not that only particular players get attention, but it's basically whoever we are likely to play against.
Coming in from Lucknow, this is a relatively smaller field. Is that going to do a lot of confidence for our middle order batting?
Again, a different challenge altogether, and it's a ground which is very similar to Chinnaswamy in terms of size. Obviously the wicket is different, the surface is different. As was the case with Lucknow as well, that we're getting 2 or 3 good sessions out here for us to understand the way to approach innings as far as bowling is concerned, the way we are going to bat as well. So these couple of sessions are very helpful for us to understand what works for this ground and what doesn't.
Is this the most evenly poised season of the IPL, and how much of it would you attribute to the impact player?
Yeah, it's a good question. It feels like it right now, doesn't it? With so many teams locked on 10 points or within 1 or 2 points. It's certainly been one of the closest I can remember, and I think the impact rules played a part in that, largely because I just think, particularly if you're defending a score, totals that previously you'd think are safe, even if you've got a team 4, 5, 6 down, they've still got batters to come, and that's the thing. So I think games that have otherwise in the past been won are not quite safe, and so as a result we've seen comebacks and we've seen lots of teams being very competitive.
Talk us through the conditions of this ground and the pitch in particular, Sanjay. Anything that you may want to highlight?
Generally, as is the history of this ground, that it's slightly a low bounce surface. So maybe the bowlers will be targeting the stumps a little more. Then obviously run scoring becomes restricted to certain areas. So those things come into play, and something which we have already spoken of in our meeting, so that we are best equipped to prepare and play in that fashion.
All the very best for the next one, Sanjay. Look forward. Thank you.
Hombale Films brings to you Game Day.